Hello, it's Mike here from the Treasury Recruitment Company. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. And now this is one of my first personal video blogs. So we started to produce, as part of our newsletter, more of an article, bit more of a personal viewpoint about different issues, different things that we're seeing in the world of Treasury. A few years ago, I tried to do this as one of my podcast listeners, Tom Baelish, and guest, lovely guy, said, we need a bit more, Mike. We need a bit more of your opinion. So get it on video as well. I've also been asked to do this by Deirdre, my lovely business coach. And she said, look, people want to hear from you. They want to hear your personal opinions. You've already talked about it on the podcast. So they want to hear you talking about the world of Treasury recruitment, the world of work, some of your personal opinions, and some of your observations, some of the things you're seeing actually in the market. So this is it. This is the accompanying video that goes with our Friday blog podcast. Yeah, we're going to get a better title. I don't know. But we do our regular podcast with an interview guest on the Treasury Career Corner on a Tuesday, and this is the Friday. So if you're listening on Friday, hello, welcome. First of many of these that I'll be doing. So on the blog, I talked about remote work, and some of the reactions to that came out were really pleasing. I really enjoyed talking about it. I entitled it talking about Amazon, Dell, Man United, who have mandated their employees to come back into the office. I think Man United even invited employees to resign if they didn't comply. For me, this did, and it did, as I put in the blog, send a message. These companies don't trust their teams. I actually also looked it up because I wanted to recheck Zoom. So if I look at there was an article, it's about the truth behind Zoom. Zoom is not abandoning its office to go fully remote. Instead, they're saying, embracing hybrid work, right? Really, we're a Zoom customer. This is on Zoom. But they are asking employees who live within 50 miles, okay, to work in person 2 days a week. This will impact only 34% of their 7,000 staff. But if you work within and you don't, what happens? Is that mandated? Is that a nice request? Is that a nice to have? Could you pop in sometimes? The fact is, it's Zoom. And the others. So as I said in the blog, if I were based near their offices, the thing was, and so what would you do? I think is a great idea. They're like, really? I said, no. It's a terrible idea. Oh, there's a great idea for me as a recruiter. The first thing I'll be doing, or I was doing, actually, I was going to a lot of those organizations, making sure I was tagging people in the Treasury teams for those organizations on LinkedIn, not reaching out to them because that's their choice, but to say, look, if you need a new role, call me. If I can help, call me. So just being there sort of thing. Hybrid working isn't a bonus anymore. It's the norm. If you're forcing your employees back into the office 5 days a week without a real reason, you're telling them not trusted. Now, I did actually make some comments and some notes about this. There may be situations, times in business where it gets very busy and you need to be in 5 days that week. We understand that. But mandating it, unless you are in a job that maybe the emergency services, maybe the caring services where you're then looking after people and the healthcare and things like that, that might be more of a reason I could see actually why you need to be there a lot more. It doesn't need to be 100%, maybe not all the time either. Treasury by its very nature, I know, is collaborative. There are times when being face-to-face, whether for training, coaching, brainstorming, solving problems, that can be focused individual work, but also you can work with your colleagues. Now, can you do that over Zoom? Can you do it over Teams? You could, but I don't think you need to all the time, certainly. There were some fantastic comments. So some shout outs. Eleanor Hill, she talked about how rigid office policies hurt diversity and inclusion, especially for people like herself who have health challenges. And she actually very kindly shared that. She's got an article link. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And those inflexible policies could close off opportunities for her and others. Janine Wilkinson, she commented, and I then also followed up with an example of a London office, London firm who were actually mandating everyone to come back into the office at least 10 days out of 20 a month. And it was like, that's great, but actually you've only got desks that can accommodate a third of your staff. So how's that going to work? Alex Ilken made a great point about companies using these mandates as a cost-cutting exercise. And we had the lovely Fraser Nickel, the Director of Treasury Income Payments over in Atlanta, Georgia, commenting about Man United and more of the Man United team coming back into the team and things like that. I couldn't really comment on that, particularly as my son Barney is actually a Man United fan. So I'll let him answer that. He will be able to help you. So part of that, and then there was another topic we were going to talk about on the blog, but I didn't put it in there. But I'm happy to talk about it now. And it also touches on what Deirdre, my business coach, she said, look, Mike, you need to be more personal. Okay. Business content, personal content. I actually find that difficult to balance. I used to work with someone in the past who he sent emails to clients that I just found too difficult. They were very personal about him and his family, day-to-day life and things like that. Now, I'm happy if anyone wants to chat about rugby, swimming, my favorite podcast, My First Million, by the way, it's brilliant. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Those conversations are one-to-one or maybe over a beer or three, not in emails or LinkedIn posts or emails directly to clients. Mark Williams, who's the LinkedIn coach, great guy, again, another podcaster, he suggested I should try and share more personal stories. And I will do like this, that I think are going to help you as a treasury professional succeed. Now, whether that's to help you find your next role, benchmark your salary through our survey, or understand market trends, that's where I can add the value. And I'm happy to do that. But if you want to know about last weekend's very wet rugby match I watched, or what podcast I'm listening to, reach out. I'll tell you. But professional content, that's professional. Personal stays personal. If you want to comment, feel free. Everything else. We got the shout outs for everyone that was there. A couple of other shout outs. In particular, Steve Cornelielsen. Steve, great to meet you, AFP Nashville. He took a selfie with me. Maybe I'll put that in the show notes as well. Just wanted to, and he told a few people about the podcast. What I would appreciate, if you have any colleagues who you think could benefit from listening to this stuff about Treasury career stories each and every week, just send them the link, treasurycareercorner.com. And if there's other topics you want me to cover, let me know. If you've got questions, love to hear your thoughts and keep the conversation going. All right, many thanks. Speak soon.